Hello and welcome back to Movie Reviews. Today I saw After Earth. Normally I like most of the movies Will Smith is in. I've never said he's the best actor, but he's always been a fairly decent actor, at least as far as I'm concerned, and he's at least tolerable in the things that I've watched him in. This movie, however, just was not good at all. It starts out with Jaden Smith, and he's running in a line with other cadets, and he decides that it's moving too slow and he's going to take off and run ahead of everyone. And the lead cadet says, "Hey cadet, this isn't a race," but he doesn't listen. He just takes off running anyway. And then during that time, it kind of gives some exposition as to what's going on in the movie. And basically, it's not really clear, but somehow Earth became uninhabitable. It's not really clear if it was something that we did to cause it or if the planet just shifted on its own. It kind of hints that maybe we had something to do with it, but it's not really clear. So all the humans get on spaceships and fly off to some other planet that we find, which was called Nova Prime, I believe. Then we settle on Nova Prime, and then it turns out that Nova Prime was already inhabited, and we just kind of took it over from the alien species that was living there, and they rebelled against us. And they tried to fight us, but we were kind of evenly matched, so then they bred these beasts called Ursas to take out the humans, and the Ursas can't see, but they can smell your fear. So if you're nervous or you're actually scared of them or whatever, they can smell you. They can then know where you are and attack you. Will Smith's character is apparently the first person to find their weakness, and it shows him kind of like marching through the battlefield, like not afraid of them, so they don't notice he's there, and then he just like kills them and whatever. So then we cut back to Jaden Smith, and he's in front of the commander of the cadet corps thing, and he says, "We're not going to advance you. You're not going to become a ranger." So he goes, Jaden Smith says, "Why? I hold all the records for basically all the times, like the running thing and like whatever else." It didn't really show much else as far as their training course, just the running bit, unless I missed it. But so he's like, I have top scores on everything. Why am I not being advanced? And the commander basically says, "You're fine in a training scenario, but when you're actually out in the field, you choke under pressure. So, we're not going to advance you." So he goes home and has to tell his father, I didn't get advanced to Ranger. So they kind of have a little bit of a shouting match. Not really, though. It's like Will Smith just kind of keeps wanting him to show him respect and call him sir. He's like, it's like Jaden's like, "I didn't get advanced to Ranger." He's like, "Excuse me?" He's like, "I didn't get advanced to Ranger." He's like, "You didn't get advanced to Ranger." "I didn't get advanced to Ranger, sir." That type of thing. So that's their little back and forth, and then Will Smith's wife character says, when you go out on your next run, take him with you. He needs a bonding experience with you, whatever. So they're on the ship and they're under attack, I believe, and they use some type of a warp jump that moves them into a position that it gets them away from the attackers, but the ship is heavily damaged. They're approaching a planet that they're going to try to land on, but it has a caution beacon saying, this planet's uninhabitable. It's forbidden to land here. Don't land here. So Will Smith says, try the jump again, and the pilot says, that won't work. It'll rip us apart. So they decide we're going to have to land regardless. So on entry into the atmosphere, the ship breaks up and explodes and everything. And that's basically what it shows in the trailer when they've crash landed. The only two survivors are Jaden and Will Smith's characters, obviously. The reason it doesn't show Will Smith doing much in the trailer is because he doesn't. During the crash landing, he broke both of his legs. So Jaden Smith has to go retrieve the signal beacon because the one they have one, but it's broken. So he has to go to where the tail section of the ship landed and get the spares. So he's going to go on this mission and blah, blah, blah. So Will Smith explains to him, we're on Earth. Everything here is evolved to destroy humans, to hunt humans, whatever. You have to get to these areas by a certain time because the temperatures dramatically shift and it gets cold at night and you'll freeze to death unless you can make it to these hot spring type areas. One of them was inside of a volcano or something. Yeah, so he's going on this mission trying to recover the signal beacons, and of course as soon as he's confronted by anything he starts to panic. So Will Smith's character is yelling at him, take a knee, catch your breath, calm down, tell me what you see, tell me what you hear type of thing. Okay, now plan out your attack, now act. So it's kind of that. Apparently the air on Earth is now toxic to humans, so they have this gel stuff they have to inhale that coats their lungs and allows them to breathe. It filters the toxins or whatever. He has enough to make it to the tail section of the ship, but one of the times he's panicking, he ends up breaking half of them, so he doesn't really have enough. He tries to lie to Will Smith to say I still have enough to get there, and then Will Smith kind of knows that he's lying, so he says, tell me the truth. He goes, I only have half of them left. So they get to a point, they plot out a route, and it's basically if he walks, it's going to take him, he would need 4 of them, but if he jumps off the edge of the cliff and glides down with his suit, then he would only need 2. So he has 2, he doesn't have 4. So Will Smith says, no, turn back, you don't have what you need to finish this mission. And that's when he's like, you wouldn't give any other ranger that order. And he's like, you're not a ranger, you're my son. And then in an act of defiance, he jumps off the cliff anyway. He gets to the beacon, and the Ursa finds him. And that's really sort of the end of the movie. I mean, there's more to it, but basically, it's just 2 hours of Will Smith yelling at his son and his son whimpering. I mean, seriously, the kid's got this panicked, crying look the whole time. His eyebrows are in that. I can't do it, but they're pushed in, but up a little bit. He's about to start bawling at every freaking instance in this movie. And Will Smith is just this. It's almost like he's trying to do what's his name, Morgan Freeman type of thing, where he's that calm, the narrator voice type of thing. But he just comes off really hollow, wooden, and everyone apparently on Nova Prime has this weird I don't know. It's like a weird accent. It's kind of. It almost sounds French, like a Creole type accent, but not the heavy like New Orleans Creole, but like an actual sort of French. Kind of a French Asian maybe accent. It's like a weird mix. Will Smith can't maintain the accent though. That's why he sounds so wooden. When he's around the lady who plays his wife in the movie, she does her accent perfectly. So when he's around her, talking to her and feeding off of her accent, he can do it. But once she's not around anymore, or there's no one else speaking with a good accent, he just kind of loses the accent and goes into that wooden voice that you hear in the trailer, where he's like, "You are my son," type of thing. It kind of sounds like Forrest Gump, honestly. So yeah, it's basically just him yelling at Jaden Smith for the whole 2 hours, and Jaden Smith running around crying and panicking. And there's a backstory with why Jaden Smith is so scared when it comes to action, because his sister was a ranger, and she hid him when they were under attack by an Ursa, and rather than trying to help his sister and fight the Ursa, he just stayed hidden, and then his sister ended up getting killed, and he blames himself, and he thinks his dad blames him as well. So yeah, there's a couple little moments with that where he sees the ghost of his sister talking to him while he's sleeping, and she's like, "You need to wake up," and he's like, "No, I'm going to sit here and talk to you for a few more minutes," and she's like, "No, you need to wake up now," and he's like, "No, wait, let me tell you about, I was reading your book," which, what the hell book was it? I don't even remember. It was like Moby Dick or something. And she's like, "No, wake up now," and then she like shows her dead face, I guess, from when she was killed by the Ursa, and then he like panics and wakes up, and then he finds out that I think it was getting to nighttime and he was gonna freeze if he didn't move. There's another encounter he has with this bird. I forget what. Why did the bird attack the bird? Kind of attacked him and picked him up and put him in the nest, and then the nest had baby birds in it, and then it came under attack by some lions or something, and the mother bird was trying to fight him off on the outside of the nest, but then Jaden was using his weapon to fight them off from the inside of the nest, and of course he was worthless. All the baby birds ended up getting killed, and then the mother bird flew away. He got down out of the nest, but then like the bird was kind of hovering over him, and he's just like, "Leave me alone," type of thing. He finally gets away from the bird, and then at one point he's unconscious for some reason, and it starts to get to the... Oh no, his the breath gel was running out, so he couldn't breathe to keep walking, so he kind of passed out, and that was when the night chill was coming in, and something starts dragging him away and puts him someplace warm, covers him up with some branches and stuff. And then when he gets up the next morning, you see that it's the bird had basically nested over him, like with her wing and stuff. And he gets up and realizes that it was the bird, and he goes and, like tries to wake the bird up, and he's like, "Thank you," and he's like trying to wake it up so it can fly away, and apparently the bird froze to death because it was dead. The whole time that Will Smith is disabled, he's running x-rays on himself and trying to perform not really like reparative surgery on himself, but like he has to do a bypass on his leg. So he like cuts into his leg and runs this piece of rubber tubing that he got from somewhere into his leg. So it's like pumping the blood around. I think there was like a blockage from the broken bone or something, so... But then that starts to fail, and he's like leaking blood everywhere, so he's trying not to lose consciousness and direct his son to stuff. And yeah, so Jaden gets to the thing and the Ursa, the signal beacon, and then the Ursa catches up with him, and of course he's afraid and he's fighting the Ursa, and the Ursa's, basically chasing around. He's running and crying and all this, and he at one point gets knocked out, and because he's unconscious, he's not fearful anymore, and the Ursa loses him for a second. He knows he's there, but he doesn't know where. And then suddenly he wakes up, and now all of a sudden he's this badass. He's not afraid anymore. And he just gets up and starts kicking the Ursa's ass with, like, no remorse, no fear, nothing. And then basically acting like his father. Which really comes out of nowhere and makes no sense. It's like, you're this sniveling little wimp this whole movie, crying about everything, getting yelled at by your daddy. And now, just because you got bumped on the head, suddenly all your fear is gone and you're a badass now. Jesus Christ. So then he gets the signal beacon, he kills the Ursa, sends up the signal beacon, the ship comes and rescues him, they go and get his father. Turns out his father's going to be fine. At one point earlier in the movie, this soldier who had lost his leg, but his life was saved thanks to Will Smith. He asks his friends, help me stand up, and Will Smith says, you don't have to do that, Ranger, and he's like, no, get me to my feet, and he stands up and salutes him. So then at the end, when Will Smith has earned the respect for his son and realizes that his son's not a little bitch anymore, he asks the doctors, help me stand up, and then they help him up, and he salutes his son, and instead of saluting back, his son just runs over and hugs him. And then he kind of starts crying again. He goes, Dad. And he goes, yes, son. He goes, I want to go work with Mom. And he's like, and then Will Smith says, me too. And then that's the end of the fucking movie. So even though he was this little wimpy bitch the whole time, then he's suddenly a badass for like 10 minutes. And then, well, it wasn't even that. It was like 2 minutes of the film. And then he gets back on the ship, and then he's a little whiny ass again. Anyway, it's just not a good movie. It tried, it just failed miserably. As far as a star rating, Jesus, I guess a 2. I mean, it was better than Temptation. I'd probably watch this again before I'd ever watch Temptation or Peoples again. And I think I gave those like a 1.5 or something. I don't fucking know. Anyway, that's After Earth. Not sure what I'm going to get around to seeing next. There are a few movies that I want to watch. I just don't really have any days scheduled where I can go see anything right now. I've been working a lot of nights lately and basically closing, so I can't really go see anything right after my shift. And on my days off, I've been working on getting these videos fixed and uploaded, and so you guys can see them. So until I get some more morning shifts or mid shifts, I'm probably not going to get around to seeing too much. So anyway, that's all for this episode. Again, thanks for watching, and until next time, we'll see you at the movies.